Hey gang, we have a John Deere X300 in for service, and other than having a little bit of grass caught here and there, I can tell by the shavings here it's time to sharpen the blades. This is owned by my neighbor Donna, and let's see here, you guys see that okay? 92.4 hours, so I just put 92.5 to round it up. Oil changes on this are every 100 hours, but she sent it back to the John Deere dealership, and they charged her just to pick it up and deliver it, mind you, $160, $80 each way. $160. And then they charged her another $200 plus for an 8.5 hour service. That's all it was on the clock. I said, no. You don't do that anymore. You don't take it over to them. They're going to get you any way they can get you. You bring it to me, and I'll take care of your service. So it has taken her almost 6 years to put 100 hours on it, which is when the first oil change after the initial oil change is supposed to be done. So that's what we are doing. I have today's date on it, 4/16 of 2020, 92 and a half, close enough to 100 hours, but it's written on there. And then, whoops, as I do with all services, I write everything on a piece of blue painter's tape and adhere. You can see it right there. So oil change at 40 hours as well. But now we've got the new oil filter, oil drained, new air cleaner, which is already in. After I get the oil filled up, I'm going to leave it just like it is and take it outside with the monster air gun and blow everything off. But for right now, what I've done is I've just taken the 3 torque screws out of here, okay? And that's these little guys right here, itty bitty guys, and I have a spacer, but there's quite a bit there, so I'm just going to vacuum as much of this out as I can. I may not even have to pull it out. And then with the hood off, I am going to hook into here and into here, lift it up, pop the blades off, and come over here to the blade sharpener and get the blades all sharpened up for her, and check everything else. I'll check and see if it has greasable spindles and whatnot, and if it does, we'll get those taken care of too. She did, or I did, put fuel stabilizer in last year at the end of the season, and it fired right up for her, so she was happy about that. Yeah, with this thing only being, let's see, let's look right here. I think I have year manufacture right here. Let's see. Pretty sure I saw something. Didn't I? See a date? Or didn't I? Maybe I didn't see a date. Look at that, assembled in USA, and Briggs engines. This is a Kawasaki, obviously. Alright, let's see here. Date of manufacture. 02 of 2030, so it's 7 years old. It's taken her it has taken her 7 years because she didn't get it till 14. It was a leftover model. But Kawasaki's just got this little spin off, the oil comes out, and then there's even a ramp underneath the oil filter. I don't know how well you can see that. There's a ramp right here that catches the oil, and then there's a stamp and the frame right there where the oil just drains down and hits the ground. It's a pretty ingenious little design there, but I just tucked a rag up under there to save all that headache and hassle. But you can see why I'm pulling this off, and you can also see why I'm going to sharpen the blades, because that's way too thin, way too powdery. So let me go ahead and sweep everything up. I'll get her jacked up in the air, get the blades off, we'll inspect the spindles, and then I'll see you guys over there on the blade sharpener. This will be the first run of using the blade sharpener. We'll see you guys in just a minute. Well, the underneath side of the deck doesn't look too bad. The chute was slightly plugged. Give you a little perspective. Sorry about going sideways. It's a big pile. Not much to chip off here. Big 15/16 lock nuts on there. You can see the dimples in them. Makes them lock on. And good old Craftsman C3 powered right through it. Took them both right off. That's kind of nice. And I'll scrape all this stuff off camera. No need for you guys to sit here and watch that. And also the chute was not on correctly. There is a primary and a secondary flap. It's hard to see because of the lighting, but secondary flap. You gotta lift them both and then tuck the edge. It's kind of hard. Well, you can't see it at all. But anyway, this pin right here has to go through that hole, and then it's got a bungee here. It's got a bungee on the back, and it's got a rest down in the lip. As you can see here, it's down in the lip of the mowing deck. So got that put back on the way it's supposed to, and since we've got the load off of the spindles, the grease zerks are on the back side. I'm going to go ahead and grease everything. Of course, with only 92.4 hours on it, not really a whole lot to service. I do want to check. Yep, and we have a greasable zerk on the front axle too, so that's a good thing. We'll make sure we grease that as well. But right now, we're coming over here to do a little bit of blade grinding. So, see if I can get this positioned in a good enough spot. That ought to do. All right. I'm not gonna sharpen the whole thing. It's gonna be loud, so noise alert to everybody. It's reversible, and that stone wobbles a lot. Let me turn it on just a little bit here. You guys should be able to see that stone wobbling. It just hasn't been dressed in a long time, plus it's nearing its end of life cycle. So, but we're going to use it here real quick. Basically all you do with these, and it looks like this is the only side that my buddy Larry's father-in-law ever used. You can do it on either side depending on which edge of the blade your edge is on. Since it's on this side, which means this rotates clockwise, you need the stone going counterclockwise so it doesn't catch it and flip it. So if I was running this way, I'd get under there, it would catch it and flip that up. You don't want that. So, got left-handed blades and right-handed blades, left-hand discharge decks and right-hand discharge decks. This is a right-hand discharge deck, so which makes sense. The blade turns clockwise. Let's do it. And yes, it's quite quiet, even with the out around stone on it. You also want to set your angle. The way you set your angle, you set your blade down, and before ever turning it on, you run the blade in. And when you run the blade in, you want to look at the air gap between this angle and the gap of the stone, and with the handle at the top of the grinder, which you can see right here, and two wing nuts, you can raise and lower the entire motor to get your proper grind angle. Okay, real quick. And these blades aren't as bad as I thought they were, but they have taken some hits. So I'll be moving this blade inbound over to the inside, the non-discharge side. So this one's going to take a little bit of work. Whatever this edge caught, This edge didn't, which is kind of weird. But anyway, here we go. Let's make some noise. Noise alert. I want to show you guys here. If you look, you can see that I've got that stone where I've not touched here yet, and I've not touched here yet. So I've got that stone's angle exactly where it needs to be. And I can tell already I need to clamp it down. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off, and I'll finish sharpening them. I'll show them to you after I get done. So hang on. I got the underside cleaned off. And here we've got our sharpened blades. Now, not sharp all the way to the edge. All that'll do is dull the blade quicker. Take it to right before you get to the edge. I cleaned up that little bit there. That's the one that was chunky. So that's the one that's going on this side over here. These are not interference blades, not interference decks. They just mount in a star, which many are now today. Just about the universal language is these goofy stars. So, noise alert. We're going to impact it. Be a little noisier, so I gotta tighten it tight. Hang on. There we go, that's one. Let's get the other one on. It's an awkward position from my shoulder, so it hoits. Well, if it hurts, don't do it, right? Well, I sort of kind of got to do it so I can get this back over to the neighbor. This side will be a little easier because I can use my leg to brace myself. Noise alert. There we go. And if you want, I'll spin it around so you can see that they are, well, maybe not interference blades. There we go. You can see they clear one another. Alright, now, we've got to do the greasing. So I'm going to go through and wipe off all the grease zerks before I grease everything up. And after I get all the grease points done, stick the hood back on and it's ready to go. That pretty well sums it up. Got the oil change done, got the oil in it. Check the battery. Of course, the battery was new February of 2018. I put it in, and it is the high cranking amp, the 360 cranking amp, 300 cold cranking amp. That's a U1L-CT, which is what size this particular machine takes. And of course, I wrote the date and all that fun happy stuff. By the way, Kawasaki engine, Kohler and Briggs oil filters fit, and they do the same job. They're same thread pitch, same seal, the whole nine. Make sure I got that tight enough. Yeah, I got it tight enough. Don't want to tighten it any more than that. All right, let's get her back down on the ground after we get things greased up, get the hood back on her, and kick the deck on, see if we can't clear the rest of that clog back into the grass catcher back here. I'll see you guys when I start that. Well, there we go. Good for another 100 hours now. I did just as the service described. They did the 8 hours. I did the 50 hours. I've gone through and done all of these for the 100 hour, and now the oil change interval is every 100 hours. So it's all written down on the new piece of tape right there. And again, date and everything written on the oil filter as well. Date and hours. So now it's ready to send it back home. Let's see if we got that clog cleared out of there. Yep. All clear. That's it. That was the only service. But all the services that it was lube all the lubrication points, check the belts, replace any that are worn, change the oil filter, change the air filter, and just pretty much just go through the whole thing. Just check it all over at tire pressure, sharpen the blades, grease the deck spindles, so on and so forth. So it's in good shape for another 100 hours. So maybe it'll be another 6 years before I service this. The house literally right across the street, right there. So that's where I'm taking it. Thanks guys for watching. Appreciate you. See you on the next one.